I hear wheels spinning. Does this make sense? Okay. All behaviors start out functional. Food's our #1 coping tool. Abuses. I'm not here to tell you whether or not you were abused. There's a lot of controversy in the psychological community about child abuse, if you planted memories. If you were abused, you know it. If you were abused, there is a 99.9% chance it is connected to your eating behavior today. Okay. So physical, sexual, emotional, mental abuse, and neglect. You probably... Now, people say, I've been through therapy to heal it. You know how to tell when your work here is through? If you're here, it's not. You know what I mean? Your work on yourself, your work on your issues, your work on healing your relationships. If you're here, it's not. We always have work to do. But it's like it's like a football game. You can't blitz every play. Sometimes you're going to go, I'm going to work on this stuff, and sometimes you're going to go, I don't want to work on this anymore. We're just going to let them catch the pass today. Okay? For you non-sports people, you got that, right? We ebb and flow. That's the nature of life. We ebb and flow. So what I want you to do is begin again to connect the dots. And we're going to do an exercise a little bit later, a hypnosis, that will help you heal some trauma. Because a lot of people in the program say, I've been to therapy for years and years and years and years, and I went to therapy to lose weight, and I feel a lot better, but I'm still overweight. What this program does is it marries up your healing your issues with losing weight. Anytime you experience a loss, grief work needs to be done. We used to think that kids did not experience grief. We know now that we just didn't know how to talk to them about it. We didn't know how to allow them to experience it because kids are not little adults. They're kids. So if you have any loss in your life, and loss can be a pet, moving. I mean, life is loss. There's losses all the time. We experience them. We may need to grieve them. And sometimes grief, the healing can be as simple as writing a letter or journaling. Getting it out of you, talking to a friend about it, talking to a therapist, finding a grief counselor. We carry these sadnesses and then we try to fill them. I'll tell you a story. My husband died today, January 22nd, 1986. Ah. And I said this year, I never remarried. 20 years. I was talking to his sister this week. I said, I think I'm ready to start dating. And I've dated a lot in 20 years. But I go, I date for a while and then I don't. And then I date for a while and then I don't. And I get in a relationship for a while and then I'm out. So I said, I think I'm ready to start dating because I haven't dated in a couple of years. She says, okay, but I don't want you to start looking until after Monday. I said, why? She says, I don't think you've waited quite long enough. It's only been 20 years. So after my husband died, I went on the grief diet, which is go ahead, try to eat anything you want. You will be throwing it up. I wasn't bulimic. It was just I couldn't keep anything down. One of the neighbors made a 7-Up cake. You ever heard of a 7-Up cake? Oh, my God. I have no clue about a 7-Up cake. I did Google it one time and found some. That was the only thing I could eat was a 7-Up cake. Nobody else could have this cake. So the first month, I lost 15 pounds. That's cool. Tough way to do it. The second month, when some of the numbness wore off, I ate everything I could get my hands on, trying to fill the void that his death had left. Now, Wayne Dyer, who's an author and a lecturer, has a wonderful saying: you can never get enough of what you really don't want. And I didn't know about it at the time. I didn't understand it. I was fairly unconscious about any of this at that time. All I knew was I would eat. This is so embarrassing. I became addicted to Cheese Whiz. Yeah, I don't think there's much food in Cheese Whiz. I think there's some petroleum byproducts in it. Cheese Whiz, any cheese that you don't have to refrigerate should be a tip-off. So I'd be at the single person's table, which is the kitchen counter, right? Mushy white bread, fat mayonnaise, mooshing the Cheese Whiz on it with the mayonnaise, folding it over because you can't cut that stuff, shoveling it in while making the next one. And that didn't really, hit the spot, so I made some ice cream. Yeah, you got to go sweet. That didn't do it, so I did Cheetos. Cheeto poop on your hands, That's some nasty stuff. Again, no food. They foods that have no reason to exist. So I go here, and that didn't work. Oh, so I have a cigarette. Yeah, maybe that was it. No. I could never get enough of any of these substances because I didn't want them. I wanted my husband, and they were a pretty poor substitute, but I didn't know at the time. So what are you substituting? So when you're eating and you're not really hungry, say, what do I really want? Because you'll never get enough food because it's not filling what you need filled. You can never get enough of what you really don't want. Look at the holes in your soul that grief or abuse has left. And we need to begin patching up those holes instead of filling them with Cheese Whiz.